I'm Becky Allen. I won the field to table and first Phorm outdoor sweepstakes, and I am a mom of two. We live on a farm in South Dakota. I am a cosmetologist by trade, so I do hair and nails. The breakdown of your food is important, knowing what's in your food, the quality of your protein, why that matters. And unfortunately, our industry or our lifestyles and how our food gets into a grocery store has changed.
Let's get ready to go hot. You already got targets down there, right?
I'm like, you asked her, are you right-handed? You said, yeah, and then you move her thumb to the left side of the head. I'm like,
That's your parallax, so that's basically your side focus is just another word for it. But whenever you have to adjust depending on how far your target is that you're shooting at. So, and then this just wherever you're comfortable. Whenever we're hunting, I would suggest having it turned all the way down, just in case something's close. Yeah. So on your grip, instead of a traditional grip like this, we're gonna use these three. And then this one's gonna go straight in line with your barrel.
Okay.
Take this hand, and what you'll do to make your small adjustments is squeeze. And so whenever you squeeze, you can watch the end of the barrel. If I squeeze, it pushes the barrel down, which is gonna push your optic down. My rest is doing all the work. I'm not having to free float it. Nice! All three of those touching.
So a lot of the tips and tricks I learned on the range, like how to stabilize my gun on the tripod and get it centered versus me trying to do all the work and hold my arms out there and try not to shake and move and do all the things. I let the tripod do the work and keep my gun steady. And there's no way I could have done it without a tripod. And yeah, just learning how to work the scope also. That was kind of a learning curve, I guess. So I think that really made me more successful at having a good shot.
On an antelope, you got vitals that are about like this, and you're shooting like that. So you got two side by side, which is outstanding, and that's still a dead antelope. From shooting sticks standing, which is the hardest shot you're gonna take.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Good job.
Woo! Knowing what's in your food and how it affects your body is super important to me in raising my family. And so that has been part of kind of how I changed our whole way of looking at food. Even when it comes to like hunting and wild game, I didn't really grow up on it, but this whole experience here has taught me a lot about how to prepare it to make it actually not taste like wild game. Yeah.
see him?
Yeah, good.
Okay, go ahead. He's dead.
Just like that.
I feel like I should have asked more questions or something, but
That was a good shot. Nice one.
all right. Look at that. First timer. So when I shot at 467 and successful, thunk, down he went. And then we walked up to it and field dressed it. And I was really like, no, I think I can do this. Like, I want to learn, and I don't want to just be the bystander and hold the leg forever. So I field dressed my animal completely with Troy talking me through and helping me along the way. And so, yeah, I was no nicks in any organs. Everything came out clean, so. Hell yeah, girl. Woo! I'm so proud of you. So after we got everything loaded up and we got back to camp here, we got it hung up, took the hide off, started cooling the meat, clean, dry, wiped everything down, and then we started quartering up the meat. And we put it in game bags, and then we put it in the cooler on ice to make sure the meat stayed cool. The next day we started breaking down everything. Chef Albert had us bring in one piece at a time and work on it. In the past, it was kind of like backstraps and tenderloins. These are the most important. Let's get those. And then the rest was kind of like, it is what it is. So learning the different cuts and what's tender, what's not so tender, and then what's definitely crock pot. So knowing that, and then, you know, even learning how to take some of those muscles and get the best results and the tenderness out of it, just by how you clean them up, really helps how the meat then tastes once you cook it.
So now Becky's got this taken apart. Here we have the bone, again, good for stocks and broths. And then we have the tender cuts. So the tender cuts are, this is the butt up there, the sirloin butt. This is the top inside round, which is on the inside of the leg cut by the pelvic bone. This is the cap that came off the top round. And then this was the head that was connected to the top round. This is the veal scallopini. This is that nice tender cut. So tender, tender. Then we have here, we have the knuckle or football. And again, on an elk, you follow that seam and take these apart, and then you have nice big pieces like this, like say to make London broil out of this. This is really good for chipping. It's very lean. It's got one big seam in it. That's good for roast, but this is less tender. This is the eye of the round, or the mock tenderloin, which is usually found between this one and this one. This is the bottom or outside round, and you can tell by the wings on it and the grain on it. So we trim this, and you got a nice, beautiful rectangle piece. I like to make pastrami out of that too.
Would you trim before you freeze or no?
Yeah, I would trim it before. That way I can use the trim for something like
this would go
stewing.
into like
Yep.
that.
And then this is the shank and the heel. So this is the one that goes like in the crock pot or pickle and or slow cook. And this is stew meat. So what I was getting at earlier, now you know what's tender, you know where they come from, and you know how to use it. We have no ground meat from that whole leg. There's nothing to grind.
It felt really good knowing exactly what was in our food and how we prepared it with everyone here. And it was fun to even watch everyone else's, like how their dishes came together and how proud they were of their results, because it was all fantastic.
Now remember, the parsley has been already picked. So all you need to do. Oh, good. That's perfect.
Pick these leaves off here like a duck.
Perfect.
Okay, here we're first course. You did a great job, especially these two guys, but the entire team. You really pulled it off. I was worried, but you did really good. Okay, go ahead.
Antelope merguez sausage gumbo with dirty rice with antelope hearts in it.
With a garnish of fresh cilantro, chives, and okra grown from the mountains of Montana.
It's got a little spice in there. Very good.
All right, guys. We have a hot Italian antelope sausage wrapped in bacon, made from scratch marinara sauce with mozzarella, and a wilted spinach with a balsamic reduction. Amazing. Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you, sir.
Tonight, my part was the curry couscous stew, which it was kind of mind-blowing because we use stew meat, which is the scraps, there's, and I thought, oh boy, because back home when we've done deer and it's like, okay, you just grind it up and it's hamburger, but it was actually super tender. Okay, up next we have an antelope curry couscous stew and fresh herbs that were picked from the pastures of Montana.
Alrighty, the final course. If you guys have room, we have the sous vide antelope paired with a mushroom kind of gravy sauce with it as well, and some red wine in there, and
with some greens and sweet potatoes and a little tomato.
Roasted tomatoes. Good luck. Eat it up.
Keep it coming.
Really good.
So many people think that wild game is going to be this chewy meat. And I just feel like I just proved them all wrong because it wasn't. There's no way I couldn't taste. I mean, to me, it was like beef. And it was more tender than some of the beef I've cooked at home. But it definitely, once you broke it down, it wasn't like a complicated process. Like, I can't say most of the words or spell them, but definitely I'll just rename them and put them into my cookbook. I really enjoyed today when we did, like, the coming together and seeing the end result was probably my favorite part because it's like, okay, like, this is how it all comes full circle, the circle of life. So I would give any new person, whether you're a woman or a young person, you've never hunted, to just start, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Field to Table was a great experience to really get every aspect, and I never was scared to ask, what am I doing wrong, or like, what could I do better, or like, okay, chef, this is not, how do I do this, or I forgot what this was called, So they made it super welcoming and inviting to be able to be open to learning, and they never made me feel like I was like, that's a dumb question. So just don't be afraid to try something new and ask questions. Always be learning.